Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. Did you know you're one with God for eternity? Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. Did you know you're one with God for eternity? Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. Welcome.
Thank you, music team, for welcoming all of us to Unity Spiritual Center of Vero Beach today. It's wonderful to see everyone. My name is Edie Monahan, and I'm one of your board of trustees. I'd like to say thank you for anyone new who's joining us on Facebook or in the sanctuary here. And if you're a Facebook user, you could please check in. Otherwise, please silence your phones for our celebration service. I think that's all for me. We have licensed Unity teachers Suzette and Paul facilitating our service today, and we're so grateful that they're here with us to share. And Paul is going to do our opening prayer.
Thank you, Edie. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I'm going to start us out with prayer this morning, and I want to mention that we celebrate a different power every month, and in July we celebrate the power of divine understanding. So please, if you would pray with me. Divine Spirit, within me and all around me, I open my heart and mind to the infinite power of wisdom and understanding. I release any limitations or doubts that cloud my perception of truth. I know that Spirit is the source of all understanding, and this power resides within me. I am one with limitless intelligence, and I am receptive to the flow of divine ideas and insights. I affirm that I have the power to comprehend all that is necessary for my growth and well-being. I see clearly the path before me, and I make choices that align with Spirit's divine plan. With each breath, I inhale wisdom, and with each exhale, I release confusion or misunderstanding. My mind is clear, my heart is open. I am filled with the light of understanding. I'm grateful for the power of understanding that guides me and empowers me. I use this gift to serve others, promote peace, and to contribute to the greater good. And so it is. Amen. I'd like to... Okay, this is only my second time. I'd like to invite our prayer chaplain to come up. Oh, it's time for the joy song. Let's stand and celebrate our joy song.
Yes, yes.
We are free and unlimited.
Okay. Ready, set. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited, right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited, there are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited, right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited, there are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited, right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited, there are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited, right now, right now.
Thank you, everyone. We have a few announcements of events happening here at Unity. I want to remind everyone that we're holding in our consciousness the integral life concepts of spiritual intimacy, integrity, and authenticity by waking up, growing up, cleaning up, and showing up. Our next workshop is going to be on Sunday, September 1st at 12:30. We're going to have a potluck. Bring your pots full of lunch, and we'll share. That'll be fun. Please talk to Cindy London about making a contribution to the potluck lunch. The next event that we have coming up is Sunday, August 4th at 11:40. We're going to have a update on our community, about our ministry, and about our services to one another and in the community. Please join us, mark your calendar for that event. Also, on August 7th, we have the SEE prayer class, which is going to begin for anyone who has finished the first class of the SEE series. The SEE series is being sponsored and run and facilitated by Suzette, and she will be in the bookstore afterwards for handing out the books for the next class. So see Suzette in the bookstore after service for your new books. I'd like to also highlight our wellness ministry on the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 4:30. We have gentle yoga led by Astrid Parker. It's been very well attended. It happens right here in the sanctuary, and I hear a good report about it. Everybody's enjoying it. Also, we have on Tuesdays at 9 a.m., we have a posture alignment class led by Katie of the Posture Clinic. I hear great reports on that too. I'd like to remind everyone that we have a meditation and energy healing service on Sundays at 9 a.m., and everyone is welcomed to attend. The board and the minister would like to thank everyone who have contributed to our 2024 beautification fundraiser project. Our projects are to beautify our building and grounds for the continued blessed enjoyment of our members and visitors. Our goal is to raise $35,000 in addition to your regular tithes and offerings. Our current achievement is $14,147. Woohoo! We're so grateful for everyone's participation at Unity. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. And let's affirm our values and vision and mission. We can read from the boards. At Unity Spiritual Center of Vero Beach, we value love, faith, integrity, stewardship, and joy. Our vision, centered in love, we create a world of harmony, abundance, and gratitude. Our mission, teaching and inspiring people to be all they are created to be. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to invite Charlotte Hadley up for our daily word reading.
Good morning, everybody. It's so great to see you today. And I am your chaplain for today. And my partner is Mary Berkins. And we'll be in service after the service for you in the chapel. For anybody who wants confidential one-on-one prayer, we'll be there available for you. And first off, I'd like to bring your attention to our Christ candle that represents the Christ consciousness that is in each and every one of us that we carry through the day, through ever and in all ways. We have prayed over our prayer box, our sacred prayer box in the 9 o'clock service. So anybody who has requested a written prayer, we have prayed over those, and we continue to do so every Tuesday morning with the prayer ministry and the chaplains on a regular basis. We also pray. So prayer is so powerful. So please do not hesitate to come see Mary or I, or in the Welcome Center, the prayer box is back there. So, and now for the daily word. The word is valuable. As a divine being, I am valuable and irreplaceable. Each person is a spiritual being made in the image and likeness of God. Blessed with a variety of spiritual gifts, we share in different ways. The world needs my unique contributions. When I see myself this way, I become newly aware of my value as a member of the human family, more confident in myself as I shine the light of God as only I can. Living in the awareness of my value helps others see it too. I leave behind critical or negative opinions I may have held about myself and treat myself as the divine being that I am. Like a beautiful gemstone, I too am a precious jewel among so many people. Together we sparkle and we shine. And from Scripture, so God created humankind in his image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. And let's repeat the affirmation together. I believe it will be up there. As a divine being, I am valuable and irreplaceable. And please, like I said, if you want one-on-one prayer after, please come see Mary and I. Thank you.
Everyone around us has a song worth singing. It's a gift residing deep within the soul. Everyone is different and everyone worth hearing. Listen to your own again, and it will make you whole. Let it make you whole, and let your music play, and let your music pour. For God's in every note, and God's in every score. His voice is every voice, so let your music soar. Here we stand together. It's here we find the answer. Sharing with each other the beauty in our lives. Lead me to your table and let me break bread with you. Let us sing our song again, and when you lead us home, let us lead us home, and let your music play, and let your music soar. For God's in every note, and God's in every score. His voice is every voice, so let your music soar, and let your music play, and let your music soar. For God's in every note, and God's in every score. His voice is every voice, so let your music soar.
Good morning again. I had an order that I was going to go through as a description of how we hear the voice of God, and I'm going to go out of order and say that one of the ways that we hear the voice of God is through music. And I was talking to Betsy Joe a couple weeks ago. She's always kind enough, this is my second time speaking here, she's kind enough to ask me if I have any music recommendations for my talk, and I'm always wise enough to defer the choice of music to the music team. But yes, and Betsy Joe shared with me that many of us will hear the voice of God through music and will be inspired by certain songs or certain melodies that bring us peace or joy or a closer connection to God. And for her experience was a little different and not what I expected. She heard the voice of God that led her to compose music. Do you remember that? So that was a little out of sequence, but my talk today is the voice of God and how we hear the voice of God. So I was thinking about the name of the talk, the title for the talk today, and I dusted off this old study I did years ago on how we hear the voice of God, the different ways we hear the voice of God, and fortunately I have my wife Suzette is an L.U.T, and I'm able to bounce ideas off of her. So it kind of boiled down to a couple of choices, and we chose the voice of Spirit for the title of this talk. I want to talk about prayer. I am leading a prayer class coming up soon, and when we pray, there are different levels of faith. I like to pray with something I call confident expectation. When I pray, I have confident expectation there are going to be results. It's kind of like if you put a coin in the Coke machine. You have a pretty confident expectation that something is going to come out. I was at potluck here when we had the potluck, and somebody made bread. So when you have a combination of flour and water and yeast and sugar, you have a fairly confident expectation that it's going to rise up and ferment and turn into bread. When you hit the button on your remote, you have pretty confident expectation that it's going to be, the TV is going to turn on, don't you? You think you can flip through the channels, turn on the TV. You have this confident expectation. When I was a kid, I was the remote. So I graduated to monkeying with the coat hanger and the aluminum after that, but I'm dating myself. But yeah, that's a level of prayer. I'd like to have you consider adding this level of confident expectation to your prayer practice. Pray with the expectation that something is going to happen. Some of the people here, and maybe some of the people that aren't here joining us on Facebook today, have took the foundation class with my wife, Suzette. Anybody? Oh, some of you have taken that, and one of the points that you covered on the foundations class was prayer, and affirmative prayer in particular. In Unity, we like affirmative prayer, affirmations and denials. And when I first got into Unity, I thought H. Emily Cady and Charles Fillmore invented affirmative prayer. Before that, it was all this beseeching, please, God, do this, do that. So I thought it was a fairly recent invention, but upon further study, I realized that affirmative prayer has been around for pretty much forever. It's part of the creation story. Another way that we hear the voice of God is through something called the echo effect. The echo effect was something that was in a book study. If any of you did the E² book study with Pam Grout, talks about things when you're thinking about things. I think it was a purple car in this example, that when you think about a purple car, you start seeing purple cars, and you may see a bumper sticker that brings something to mind for you. It brings an image to mind. So there are different ways that we hear this. My wife and I have been watching this TV show, The Chosen. I don't know if any of you are getting into that or not, but The Chosen is about the life of Jesus and when he assembled the disciples. And well, so far we're in the early parts of his ministry. Something that kept popping up, which I could call the echo effect, something that kept popping up is something that I studied years ago and thought about years ago. It was a verse from Isaiah, from the book of Isaiah. And I feel a lot differently about this verse that was written 3,000 years ago. I feel a lot differently about it now than I did when I first read it. And I'm going to go ahead and read the first part of it and break it down into a couple of bite-sized pieces for you. So it starts out, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are your ways, declares the Lord." See, back in the old days, they heard the voice of God through the prophets. That was their method back then, or one of the methods. "As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts." So how I understood it back in the original reading, it's like, okay, God, I get it. You're great. You're awesome. I'm a little ant running around here on this ant hill. You're the best. I got it. I understand. Further investigation led me to a different conclusion. How many people here have done the 4 agreements? Wow, almost everybody. So when I read this verse, what was I doing wrong here? The first one was be impeccable with your word. Not really pertinent here. Don't take things personally. I kind of took that verse a little personally. I felt like God was talking to me. I made that assumption that God is picking me out for this verse. I'm great, and you're just kind of, it's like, kind of depressing. But then I had to investigate this a little bit further. And then I came up with the idea, this metaphysical reading of this. And I said the verse highlights the distinction between divine mind, God's consciousness, and human mind. God's thoughts are not limited by ego. God doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. Doesn't have these ego-driven desires or monkey mind. Rather, they operate from a different spiritual plane where the allness of divine love, wisdom, imagination, and creative power are boundless. Wow. That's a much better way of looking at it. I'm not looking at it now as, oh, God is so much better. It's just different, and it's something that we can use. We can access this divine power. It's like, okay, Spirit, I'll give you that one. I read that one wrong. The next part of it is, as the rain and the snow come down from heaven and do not return to it without watering the earth, and making it bud and flourish so that it yields seed for the sower and bread for the eater. It's like, wow, that's from 3,000 plus years ago, and that sounds like affirmative prayer to me, doesn't it? The verse underscores the power of affirmative prayer. Just as rain and snow nourish the earth, our clear, positive thoughts and words, aligned with divine mind, have the power to manifest abundance, healing, transformation. We're co-creators with God, using our thoughts, images, feelings, and words to shape our reality. The next part is, so is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty. Did we slip a denial in there? In the class you had the affirmations and denials. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. Does this sound like wishy-washy, or does this sound like confident expectation of results? It's given to you in images and thoughts and feelings and emotion that you can picture this in your head from beginning to end. And then my favorite part is the last part of this verse. You will go out in joy and be led forth in peace, and the mountains and hills will burst into song before you, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. Instead of the thorn bush will grow the juniper, and instead of briars, myrtle will grow. This will be the Lord's renown and an everlasting sign that will endure forever. Let's put a joyful spin on the end of that verse. The final verse depicts a life lived in alignment with divine mind. It's a life filled with joy, peace, and harmony, where nature itself rejoices. This reflects my belief that when we surrender our limited thinking and align our spirit's loving purpose, we experience the fullness of life, abundance, health, prosperity, and we enjoy spiritual growth. And also that part, instead of the thorn bush will grow the juniper, and instead of the briars, myrtle will grow. That's a little thank you to our garden team. So how do we hear the voice today? We have other ways if we have ears to hear. We hear through natural occurrences. I had a hurricane story the last time I spoke, and at some point afterwards I was speaking with Bonnie in the Zen Den, and she told me that this story of how this person saw the warnings for the hurricane and said, I'm not scared, God will take care of me. Later the floodwaters came and he got up on the roof and he said, boat came by and he said, no, I don't need to jump in the boat, God's going to take care of me. Later a helicopter came by. He's like, nope, I'm trusting in God, he's going to take care of me. So, just to sum it up, our conversation, Bonnie was saying that sometimes the voice of God speaks to us and we choose not to hear it, or we don't hear it. We don't have ourself in the moment then to where we can hear these things. It just blows right past us. Sometimes we hear the voice of God through our gut instinct or deep inner feeling. Sometimes it's God by proxy, which means that we hear the voice of God through conversations with others, which again could be like my talk with Bonnie after church the one day. She told me another story. I think she was telling me the group of ladies I was talking to in the Zen Den that they were students of Shirley Bishop, who was a licensed Unity teacher who came before me. And so she certainly passed on a lot of wisdom. So sometimes we have this God by proxy, which we hear the voice of God through other people in conversation. And she was telling me about how sometimes we hear the voice of God through unrelated events. Like the car won't start. Dang it, I can't find my keys. Where's my phone? And causes a delay. So sometimes these delays are Spirit leading us along. Sometimes we were delayed for a reason. And in this story that we were speaking of, it was there was an accident further down the road. There was some traffic mishap that was avoided by being a few minutes late. In the Hindu god Ganesha, Ganesha is a wily elephant-headed boy that he's much loved by the Hindu religion. Ganesha is known for putting obstacles in our way and removing obstacles to help us align to the correct spiritual path. So this story about the car not starting, it made me think about Ganesha, and it made me think about the power of divine order. Before this, I always thought about divine order. It occurred to me that divine order is what I do after I try to put something together unsuccessfully, and then I go back and read the instructions. There's a certain sequence you need to do things in, and that's how divine order occurred to me, and it didn't really occur to me that it may be that Spirit is in charge here, and that Spirit is leading me along divinely. How can we tell if something is a divine idea? I was in a class with Alice years and years and years and years ago. This woman, Alice, she had some very profound insights, and she just broke it down very simply. If we are praying and we're looking as to whether something is a divine idea or not, is it good for me? Check. Is it good for others? Check. And does it hurt no one? Those are three of the necessities for determining whether something is a divine idea for me. That's kind of part of my checklist. Like, is it necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? Is another one of those checklists that I like to run off sometimes. My checklist is it necessary, true, or kind? And is it a divine idea? Is it a divine idea? Is it something that is good for me? Is it good for others? And it hurts no one. And finally, I wanted to say, there are a lot of ways that we can't cover here. I'm going to be kind and not speak all day, but there are a lot of other ways that we can cover about how we hear the voice of God. I am teaching a prayer class coming up, so you might hear more of it there. I was trying to think of a word to invent for talking to the heart. The heart and mind, we often think of them as being separate. I did a lot of studies with CSL, and they affirm that they're all one, but sometimes you think of the way the heart understands things and the way the mind understands things are different. The mind understands numbers and symbols and words, and the heart understands feelings, emotions, images, pictures, so they work differently. In order to have a confident expectation that we're going to have results, we have to have an accord between our heart space and our head space. So a word that I'd come up with was core lingua, which is core for the Latin word core for heart and lingua for tongue. So we have to think of a way that we can speak to our heart and get it to go along with the plans of the mind. So I'm going to finish up with a prayer challenge for you, since we will be having a prayer class coming up. My prayer challenge is something that I like to practice, and it's when I go grocery shopping. If you go to Publix, or if you go to Winn-Dixie or Walmart, or wherever you go and you're walking out with your cart full of groceries, just say a thank you, a prayer of gratitude for all of this wonderful food that you have, and picture in your mind the people enjoying it, being nourished, being fed. Think about the gratitude you have for having a car that you can put this stuff into and drive back to your house. And I just challenge you to think about this prayer challenge during the coming week. And that's going to do it for me. So it is. So thank you very much.
Take several deep, cleansing breaths, inhaling peace and exhaling tension. Feel the weight of your body supported by the chair beneath you. Become aware of the present moment, letting go of past and future concerns. Let your body relax and your mind quiet. Repeat this affirmation silently. I am one with Spirit. The voice of Spirit flows through me. Set your intention to deepen your connection with this divine presence. Imagine a gentle light emanating from the center of your being. This light represents your inner divinity, your connection to the source of all that is. As you breathe, visualize this light expanding, filling your entire body with warmth and love. Feel yourself becoming lighter, brighter, more aligned with the truth of who you are. Now gently bring your attention to the area of your heart. This is the center of your intuition, where you can connect with the wisdom of Spirit. Imagine a beautiful flower blooming in your heart, its petals unfurling with each beat. Affirm, my heart is open to receive the loving guidance of Spirit. Release any expectations or attachments to how Spirit should speak to you. Trust that the messages you receive will be exactly what you need in this moment. Remember, the voice of Spirit speaks to each of us in unique ways. Trust your intuition and be open to receiving guidance in whatever form it may take. It may be a gentle whisper, a feeling, a flash of insight, or a deep knowing. If a question arises, silently ask it to Spirit. Trust that the answer will come in perfect timing and in a way that you can understand. Journey inward to the sacred space within your heart. Imagine a peaceful sanctuary where you can commune with Spirit. This is your inner temple, a place of stillness and wisdom. Focus on the stillness within as we enter the silence. Reflect on any messages or insights you receive during this meditation. Trust your inner knowing as you discern the guidance of Spirit. Ask yourself, how can I apply this wisdom in my life? Express gratitude for the loving guidance of Spirit. Know that you are always connected to this source of infinite wisdom and love. Affirm your commitment to living in alignment with your highest truth. And as you go about your day, trust that the guidance will continue to unfold and lead you on your path. And we say, thank you, God. And so it is.
Thank you, Suzette, for the prayer. Betsy, Joe, and Peter are going to do a song, and then we'll have our offertory.
One light, one consciousness, one love, one heart, one world, one universe. Of all this we're a part of, expressions of one God. The thoughts we think, the things we do, the words we speak out loud, they manifest in different ways the world we bring about. The truth we learn, the truth we teach, it calls us by our name. Student and the teacher, they are one and the same. One light, one consciousness, one love, one heart, one world, one universe. Of all this we're a part of, expressions of one God. What we teach is what we learn, that's how we live our lives. And the lessons taught and learned will bring an end to strife. When we see we're really one, we see with our heart, and we know with certainty that we are not apart from one light, one consciousness, one love, one heart, one world, one universe. Of all this we're a part of, expressions of one God, expressions of one God.
And one goddess.
Thank you, Peter and Betsy Joe. Let's take that intention of abundance, prosperity, health, wellness, and bringing it into our hearts. Take your gift in hand and join me in the offertory prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I say. And we say, thank you, God. Barb Brooks and Eva Walco are going to be our offertory collectors.
Heart song. The second song was by me, and this one is a song that was written by a group called The Porter's Gate. It's called Your Labor Is Not in Vain. Your labor is not in vain, though the ground underneath you is barren and stained. Your planting and reaping are never the same. Your labor is not in vain. Your labor is not unknown, though the rocks they cry out and the sea it may groan. The place of your toil may not seem like a home, but your labor is not unknown. I am with you, I am with you, I am with you, I am with you, for I have called you by name. Your labor is not in vain. The vineyard you plant will bear fruit, and the fields will sing out and rejoice with the truth. For all that is old will at last be made new, for the vineyard you plant will bear fruit. I am with you, I am with you, I am with you, I am with you, for I have called you by name. Your labor is not in vain. The houses you labor to build will finally with laughter and joy be filled. The voices that hurt and destroy will be stilled, and all that is broken be healed.
Hallelujah.
I am with you, I am with you, I am with you, I am with you, for I have called you by name. Your labor is not in vain. I am with you, or I am with you, for I have called you by name. Your labor is not in vain.
Let's take a moment to bless our offertory. Thank you, God, for the blessing of these generous gifts today. We anoint this offering with your presence and power, committing it to your purpose and will in our ministry and in this world, to bring the blessing of your grace and good to one and all. Thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. Paul is going to come up and lead us in our prayer for protection, and then followed by our peace song.
So if you'd all stand.
We have our song first,
Oh,
the peace song.
yep. If you would all stand and hold hands.
Stand and hold hands.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, and we all are we.
upholds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.